This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Well, welcome to our worship on this Youth Sunday, this first Sunday of June, which worship begins at 5. We're here for this, and we welcome all of our young people to be with us as well in our worship. Several announcements. All of the songs that we'll be singing is on the song sheets that are presented here. I hope you all have one. They're plenty, so we'll be singing from these. I think maybe some of the work will be on the board as well. We'll be using that. Please note the several announcements in the bulletin. Particularly, I want to remind all of you that on the third Tuesday, starting the chosen series, video series on the ministry of Jesus and his disciples. This is a really compelling drama. If you attend these, they're just less than an hour, about an hour or less anyway. It's going to be every Tuesday from the last Tuesdays of June, July, and the first 2 weeks of August. Anyway, at 7:30 here, will be time to view the videos. If you think you understood anything of Jesus' ministry with his disciples and with the public, you'll be astounded by what you learn from these videos. They're very well done. The acting is superb. The events which are recounted that Jesus' ministry as he calls the disciples to serve him in the kingdom, really compelling. So I would encourage you to make that part of your weekly schedule, 7:30 Tuesday nights, beginning on the 21st. There are other important announcements in the bulletin as well. We trust that you will pay attention to those things. We're very happy to have you here, and there will be a refreshment, light luncheon downstairs following worship. We invite you all to come down for that and to meet with our young people as well. So we invite you to now, I guess, mark through the praise song. Okay.
So you have your praise booklet. I'm going to introduce our worship leaders today that are leading us in song. This is Anna Morris, Elle Morris, Hannah Barnes, Evelyn Hill, and Victoria. So in Christ Alone, we're going to sing all 4 verses, and then we're going to go back and sing the first verse at the very end. Okay? Just to let you know. So it'll be 5 verses we're going to be singing. You can stand up.
Storm.
bow in opening prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for yourself, for what you've done for us in our redemption. We thank you that you give us this day on which to worship you. And we thank you that we can be together as those who believe in you and trust in you with our lives. We pray that you will bless us as we worship together. We ask your blessing upon these young people. We thank you for their lives, for their families. We pray your blessing upon them as they move from this time of their lives into a whole new period. We pray that you guide and direct them, even as we ask you to guide and direct us as families, as individuals, as a church. We ask you to hear us and bless us in our worship as we come in your name, praying the prayer you taught us to pray by saying,
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory
forever. Amen. Thank you. May be seated.
And now the girls are going to lead us in sacred music.
Our New Testament reading is Hebrews 11:1. And it's now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. So friends, Today's going to be a really difficult day, and I'm going to try to do my best to get through. I know I say this every year, but particularly this is a really tough year since we're losing 6 of our kids. And these kids have truly left a indelible mark in our hearts. So to get started, we're going to have Hannah Barnes introduce Miss Victoria.
Okay, so for those of you that may not know me, my name is Hannah and I'm a member of the youth group that we have here. I actually graduated last year, but I love this group and people so much that I had to come back for one more year. Oh, I'm crying. This is ridiculous. Okay, this is gross. Okay. Guys, I'm not sure I can make it through. Okay. Today I came up here to talk about an incredible young woman in my life who actually introduced me to the youth group and all the people that I met here. Her name is Victoria Lee. I met Victoria back in middle school. We did a couple of shows together, but we didn't really know each other all that well. Though it didn't stop her from walking up to me and asking me to come on a trip to Boston with her for spring break. My first thought was, why is this girl inviting me? I barely even know her. Although I couldn't imagine my life if I hadn't said yes to that trip. Because little did I know that one trip was such a friendship of a lifetime.
No, let her do this on her own. This is kind of entertaining.
I don't cry, this is weird. She's gonna bully me in the car later. While Victoria may be younger than me, she's someone that I look up to. She's one of those people that you can look at and you just know that they're going somewhere in life. I didn't think it was this hard. If I had to describe her in one word, the word I would use is ambitious. She's someone that once she knows what she wants, there's not going to be anybody who's going to get in her way to stop her. I'm so sorry I'm taking so many pauses. Victoria is someone who just has it all. She's got the brain, she can sing, act, attempt a few dance steps here and there, but she's really just incredible. She's someone who has been knocked down time after time, yet stood right back up. In my eyes, she's a warrior, because it didn't matter the amount of times that she fell down, but the way that she pushed herself to stand back up each and every single time. It's been an absolute blessing to see the woman Victoria has grown into today. It's been a long journey for her, a long journey for us. From our movie nights to our rehearsals, from seeing you shine on stage, late night talks and everything else in between, I wouldn't have traded the last 5 years for anything. There's not a doubt in my mind that she won't make it far, or she will make it far, no, that. Victoria, you and your family were one of the first people who helped me realize that love doesn't make a family, love does. And I hope one day to be just half the woman that you are today. I love you. My time with the Holmes Youth Group has been considerably shorter in comparison to my fellow seniors. However, despite this, I found such a home with that same amount of abundant love and support, even for my orphans. I graciously joined the group early my freshman year, but before this, my identity was unrecognizable. Middle school was a time full of despair and questioning for me, and people happened to be incredibly cruel. My once loud self now deafened with silence instead of words. Ella convinced me that I should go to the Holmes Youth Group Halloween party and that we should wear a duo costume in hopes to win a seemingly minute plastic first place medal. And we did win. And even though I hardly knew them at the time, I remember looking at Mark and Becky. And when I looked at them, I was confronted with one thing: love. Mark nor Becky fully knew my name, what I came from, and what I was enduring, yet they treated me and have continued to treat me like a child of their own. Every time I get on stage, I know who will be waiting for me in the audience, cheering the loudest after every number. When they detect pain or fatigue in my eyes, they immediately remind me of my indefinite worth, and Becky always hands me a sweet treat, because clearly, sweets heal the soul. But the sweets always taste better when they're from Becky, because it's Becky. These two individuals heal me. As a young woman, now a fresh adult, life is constantly moving in ways I feel I cannot grasp. But as I lay seemingly defeated, I remember who has taught me to love, persevere, express, and grow. 4 years ago, I was shying away from my dreams. I was told myself that my talent was not enough, and whatever ideas were funneling through my head were preposterous. That was simply not true, and Mark and Becky were the forefront of helping me discover this. They showed me the power and gravity my voice can hold, and how I can heal the souls of many, including my own in the process. Now, over 1,000 days later, I placed mere decimals away from being the first alto vocalist in the entire state, a process I initially backed down from doing out of fear. I'll tell you right now, that would not have happened 4 years ago, and I credit all of that to them. Before my time here, I was not living. I did not know how. I forgot how to smile. I forgot how it felt to be in the moment and be passionate. And despite having so many wounds, they both managed to heal them all. I have relearned how to live, how to praise, and how to remain still in who I am and find comfort in myself, making joining the youth group one of the greatest decisions of my livelihood. I have been transformed into a human being I can hardly recognize, but this time for all the right reasons. I've truly been saved, and I can finally breathe after all those years of discouragement. To you both, thank you for being my home these past 4 years. I will carry every word with me as I journey to the Big Apple to fulfill my dreams, but just know, today is far from the end. It is merely the beginning of a glorious chapter for us all, and surely you both will be with me always. You are simply my medicine, and I love you both endlessly.
In the many, many years of doing Youth Sunday, it's usually tradition to have certain people introduce each other, like Hannah just introduced each Today's truly is a special group, so I'd like to have the honor this time of introducing the rest of the senior graduates. And Victoria, you're in this as well. First off, I want you to know how special these people are to Mark and I hope you all know that. Years ago, we had close to 10 youth graduate from our youth group, and our youth group was truly cut in half in numbers. Mark and I prayed, and the church prayed, that young people would enter this church for this youth group, because the numbers were so small. We're used to having 25 to 30 kids, and having 5 kids is kind of takes you back a little bit. So, one day, needed papers next door to my parents' house. My mom, who sees multiple children in this family, tell the new neighbor, it's Gina Mars, about our youth group. Wouldn't you know that the eldest, I call him Sandwich, but Sammy Mars, comes along, and he later brings his brothers and sisters, the quads. 5 kids. We just went up to 10. We were like, so excited. Then they invite the Zims, the Zimmermans. Aileen and Connor come. They're twins. Cousin, quads and twins. It's amazing. Then they invite their younger brother, Aiden. So now we're up to, what was it? 12, 13. Mornings are slow for me. And then they eventually invite Miss Victoria. Okay, so boom, we have a nice group of kids there. And then Victoria brings Hannah, more kids. It was like the answer to prayer. And what a blessing that you and all your families have been to us. The commitment you have all shown to this church and to this youth group is inspiring. Before COVID, during COVID, to now. You stuck with us, okay, when everybody else failed. And you know what I'm talking about. Before, when everything happened with COVID, our hockey marathon, we were going to have 40 kids here at this church. And then COVID hit, and then we were left, and these were the kids who stuck with us. And except for the last year's graduates too, so Sean, Skylar, and Hannah. So Mark and I can't thank you enough. We've seen you grow from little itty bitties to the wonderful people you are now. Your enthusiasm and excitement is infectious. We've had some of the best memories together. Ella, Anna, and Vic, they're my girls. You become sisters to me, and I hope you know how much I love you. You've always done whatever I have asked. Acting in church skits, singing in church, volunteering for whatever you name it. You're truly the most unselfish girls that I've ever met, and you're always willing to help out anytime, anywhere. I will miss you. From introducing me to Halloween ABBA, our kickball games, to camp, to you all staying awake literally all night at the lock-ins, and I'm saying all night. You all talking in your Australian accent, British accent, and you all putting up with my terrible version of it. Being so proud to see you perform at 80 is included in this. At your drama shows at Wrigley, and all our talks and spilling the tea when I didn't know what spilling the tea was. I'm so proud of the ladies that you have become, and your incredible singing and acting talent will take you far. You are truly my heart friends. My boys, Ada, Rob, and James, my Jimbo Slice. I hope you know how much I love you too. Aiden, thank you for your humor. You have the greatest sense of humor, and I don't think many people realize. You've made Mark and I laugh so hard so many times throughout the years, particularly when we were at camp. If you came to the coffee house, you would have seen what I'm talking about. But you're also kind, you're helpful, you're thoughtful, always willing to give me a hug and to say a kind word. Like Vic, Ann, and Ella, you're super talented. And like I said before, so proud to see you at the stage of it. Rob and James, I'm going to miss our day-to-day talks at the fence at my parents' house. And your kind hellos. Whenever you see me, you'll always say hello. And I hope you know that it always made my day. You always brought so much laughter to the youth group. I'm going to miss you coming to my house, eating chocolate chip cookies after lighting the luminaries on Christmas Eve. I love seeing you play with my precious dog, Kaiser, to now playing with Asher. I love bringing over ginger ale because I know all you loved it. And I know this might sound silly, but all these little things add up. You're like my little brothers. You're all grown up. It's bittersweet. But most importantly, this past year when I had my stroke, you all helped me in ways that you don't know. I was at my lowest in every way, and you were my cheerleaders all along the way. And I will never, ever be able to express my gratitude to all of you. It's now time to spread your wings and fly and show the world the special people that you are. You've all been such a big part of my life every day, and I thank God for the blessing of you, all of you, every single one. May God continue to bless you and guide you in the next stage of your lives. Mark and I in this church will always be here for you. And with that, Aiden, you're up.
She'll be fine.
And there's my hug.
Yes. I first joined this youth group when I was just starting out middle school. My brother and sister had been in it for a year or two at that point, and I was really excited that I'm hearing about how much fun they were having and all this really cool stuff they were doing while they were there. And so I was really excited to join, and when I did join, it was cool. Mark and Becky welcomed me right away, made me feel at home, made me feel like youth group was somewhere where I belonged. And the Morrises, you guys were all great. Love you guys. Thanks for being so cool. I don't know, it's been a lot of fun. Lock-ins, hockey marathons, camp. It's been good. Thank you.
Mr. Robert Morris.
Good morning, everybody. I'm not going to stand in front of the microphone and talk to people, so here I am.
No, it's fine.
Okay. My name is Robert Morris. I've been a member of this youth group for well over 6 years. I'd like to tell you about my favorite thing. We used to go to camp every year, Camp Kirkwood. We would play many games, have a lot of fun. Every morning we'd have a Bible lesson Mark would put together, teach us about our faith. It's always good. We would play. My favorite game, we had this powder war. We all had colored powder packets and we would attack each other. It was a lot of fun. I just turned my phone off, so I lost my place. Some other things we would do, lock in for Halloween, Christmas caroling on the front steps. It's always fun. One of my most favorite things to do was the hockey marathon. I've never done anything like that before. Play hockey all day, it was a lot of fun. Had a big draft before. We'd all get our own jerseys and Becky would make some really good fluffernuggets. Mark and Becky always had something fun planned, no matter how busy they were. I still remember walking door to door with candy, raising money for the big camp trip. I'd like to thank Mark and Becky, both from the bottom of my heart. Not just from my family, but from everyone else. We've got the work you guys have put in running this youth group for us to have a safe place to come every Sunday night. Not only for having this youth group for us, but everything they do for the people in it every day. We all thank you. I also thank the members of this church and Reverend Carpenter for just being there as we need it. I also thank God for the opportunities He has given me, not only for moving me next to Becky's parents, but for bringing me here for the past 6 years. Thank you, everyone.
James, my gender says.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm James. So I've been a part of this youth group for 6 years, and it has truly been amazing and life-changing. Some of my favorite stuff would be at camp. We would play so many games and get really close to God. Mark would help us with his Bible lessons in the morning, and then we would transition into games. We played some very messy games. I remember my favorite would probably be, we had this little war. We had silly string and water guns and a bunch of messy stuff. You blindfold, they call out a number, and you just go blindfolded and grab stuff, and when you get it, you take your blindfold off and attack the person with it. It's a lot of fun. You get really messy, and then you have to clean up at the end. But the bad part is there's 3 showers and a lot of kids, so you have to wait your turn. Another part about camp I liked was the swimming bridge, and I'm not sure if it was a lake or a creek or what it was, but we would go swimming in it. Sometimes it would be cold, but when it wasn't, it's nice because it's just fun. I liked the hockey marathon. It gave us a chance to get closer to the friends at our youth group and play hockey all day long. Truly picking memories from over the 6 years is hard because I loved all of it, and it feels like this is a second family. All the meetings every week, lock-ins, our youth group Easter egg hunts, soup luncheons, and all of the other countless things that Mark and Becky have set up for us. Well, you guys know that the pastor is my neighbor because Becky mentioned it, but we came here as little babies, and now we're all grown up. I like you both so much because my life wouldn't be the same without you, the church, and the members of this youth group. Thank you for helping me learn more about myself, my faith, and how to be a better person.
Miss Ella. I apologize in advance for all of the sniffles you're going to hear. I remember my first day coming to this youth group. I was a tiny little 11-year-old girl who had just moved into a new house. our neighbor's daughter coincidentally ran a youth group in a random church around the corner. My mom forced me to go to the first meeting that year. I was so nervous. My neighbor's daughter had told me that they typically didn't let people into the group until they were 12. Was everyone going to be older than me? Would I just be sitting alone in a corner twiddling my thumbs the whole time because I didn't know anyone? I expressed my nervousness to my mom, and still, she made me go. I remember walking into the hall and stopping dead in my tracks. There were so many people. And they were all so much older than me. A bunch of high school students and 4 11-year-old children. Not just any 11-year-old children, the scrawniest children you've ever seen in your life. I'm talking, we were maybe this tall. And I wasn't placed. Anyways, I walked in and grabbed a seat, and immediately some guy sitting with his legs crossed on the table next to my neighbor's daughter said, "Who are you? Isn't it past your bedtime?" He probably slammed his fists together like he always does when he wants to scare tiny children meeting him for the first time. Oddly enough, I felt all my nervousness fade away. Everybody was so welcoming. Oh my gosh, sorry. Was so welcoming and kind to these annoying little kids that they had no reason to be nice to. I had finally found a place where I could fit in and be my crazy self. I never knew that this group of strangers would become a second family to me. That my new neighbor's daughter and the funny guy sitting on the table would become such an enormous part of my life. Oh my gosh, jeez. Being in this group has taught me so much about my faith and also just myself. When Becky used to ask me to sing at the church services, I would feel that same nervousness come back and immediately refuse. Look at me now. I would have never found my love for music if it wasn't for Mark pushing me to put myself out there and convincing me that I'm good enough. Growing up in this church is an experience I wouldn't trade for the world. I will always cherish the many memories this group has blessed me with. From my very first camp to my last, from the Halloween lock-ins to all the spaghetti dinners where I probably ate more spaghetti than I actually served. From the many times I nitpicked Mark on the hymns that we sang, to the countless amount of times when the words to "I Want It That Way" by the Backstreet Boys were screamed, or just selling mums on a fall day and acting like idiots while doing so. These are memories I'll never forget. Soon I'll be headed off to Vermont, and I can't help but think back to that tiny little 11-year-old girl who stepped into a big room full of scary people. I feel that same nervousness, but then I realize that if I never made that decision that day to stay with this group, I would never be who you see up here today. I know that Mark and Becky will only ever be a text away, and suddenly college doesn't seem that hard. Thank you for giving me a spot to be myself these last 6 years, and a space to meet people that I never would have had the opportunity to otherwise. I'm eternally grateful.
Hey, Miss Anna Morris.
Lots of tears today, so I'm gonna try and hold it together. Also, I didn't really write this till last minute, and I'm gonna say it's because I emotionally couldn't handle it, but it's really just because I kind of forgot. So here we go, stay with me. I was lucky enough to come into this youth group a year early, and that one extra year gave me the gift of more time to make memories with this wonderful group. Also, this sounds exactly like my sister's speech. We are like practically the same person. I apologize in advance. As a little 11-year-old kid, the last thing I wanted to do was pick up all my stuff and move houses. And I especially didn't want to go to the weird group at church that my random neighbors invited me to. But little did I know that those random neighbors were Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter, and their random invitation would change my life forever. When I walked down into the social hall with 3 kids that looked just like me, I was nervous, very nervous. I walked in the room full of kids that were older than me and 2 adults sitting on a table in the front that looked like it was about to snap. I was worried that I would embarrass myself and all the older teenagers wouldn't think I was cool enough to hang out with, but I was so wrong. This group has always been a family, and all of the kids, along with Becky and Mark, welcomed us with open arms. The first second I walked in that room, there was nothing but happiness, nothing but family. I'm not gonna lie, I think I was definitely intimidated by Mark the most, because as a little 11-year-old child, he probably looked like 17 feet tall, and he was probably giving us crap about being out too late and going to Ridley. But eventually I learned how to dish it back out. Fast forward not even 30 minutes, and I'm already making a fool of myself and loving it. I will never forget that first kickball game we played. Some people chose to sit on the curb, but not me. I got right into the nitty-gritty. As a tiny child, I was a tiny child, but I had a huge voice, especially when people needed to go back to their previous bases. Throughout my years in this group, we've done so many wonderful things together, from spaghetti luncheons, lock-ins, to hockey marathons, and I'm pretty sure I made one goal one time, and I'm never gonna let it go. I felt like I was in the NHL for a second. My favorite memories will always be the times that we went to Camp Kirkwood. That was truly the place where we made our best bonds and became not just friends, but family. Even though most of the time we were covered in various gross substances like chocolate or pudding, that only brought us closer. In between all the fun and the mess, we really expanded our knowledge of the Bible and God and angels. I don't think I will ever, I know what I was trying to say. I don't think I will ever live down my little song about wearing Phillies gear. I'm not even a Phillies fan. I don't really care about baseball that much. But for some reason, I decided to sing about how swag they are. I don't really know why I did that, but I'm never gonna live it down. It's gonna follow me for the rest of my life. And I might have lied earlier because I do have so many other favorite memories. When Becky and Mark first asked me to sing here, I was like, are you crazy? I don't know any of these people, and I'm not singing in front of them. But thankfully they pushed me to do it, and despite my doubts, now this room right here is my absolute favorite place to perform. Sadly, these past couple years, we haven't had as many opportunities to make memories, but that never made us any less of a family. This year was a particularly hard one for me. Whew. Give me 1 second. This year was a particularly hard one for me. Hold on. I thought I wasn't going to do this. It was hard to get out of bed some days, but I always knew that I could count on Becky and Mark for support. Becky seemed to just know when there was sadness behind my smile, and I always knew I could count on Mark for a joke and a smile. It seemed every time I was down in the dumps, Becky was right around the corner ready to give me the world's best hug. She seriously gives the best hugs. I don't know how she does it. I don't know if she's got like a different form or something, but they're great. So all I really have to say is thank you. Thank you to the current and past members of this group. And thank you to Becky and Mark for always being here for me. You've helped me in so many ways, and you don't even realize it. I love you all.
So, before Mark tells his funny stuff, I hope you see people at this church how much you supported this ministry and how important it is to children in this community. And I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It gives me joy, and Mark and I joy, to work with these kids, and it gives us lasting memories. And I hope you see today and you hear how important this ministry at this church is. So thank you for everyone who prays for us, who supports us, and who supports these kids. Thank you.
Mark does the fun stuff. You know, I've grown as well, and this year was the first year that I was going to get up there and be completely 100% serious. So thanks for blowing that one for me. I also remember the first time that I saw the Marsons, and I was brought over basically to come here, see this. You won't believe this when you see this. And I have to tell you that I know that Gina put them here and then made them come here, their mom. But Gina, that was probably the best $200 I ever spent that I gave you for that. They walked in and literally, as Becky said, it was instant youth group. We had lost 10 or 11 kids from the before who had graduated. We did not know how we were going to go forward, and God really provided in a big way. I do have to say, however, when I saw them walking to the parking lot, I thought that they had the wrong place. I thought, no, we don't. These were toddlers, obviously, when we first saw them, and I think they were about 2 or 3 feet tall. We immediately put them out on the back lot here, and we had them. Well, what can we do with these little guys? We just graduated 11 seniors. So, okay, we'll play kickball. And I need to explain what Anna was talking about here with something about back in the previous page. Not only were they not exactly experts in life, they had no idea how to play the basic rules of baseball. Somebody was on first base, and when you catch the ball, it's an out. You can't run. You can't just run around the bases. You understand? Does everybody understand that concept? You can't be at first base going, oh, they kicked the ball. They're caught it. I'm going to go run. No, you can't do that. You get doubled off at first, right? Somebody didn't realize that. And I noticed that as big leaguers would do, they were giving each other symbols. You know, hit, left, right, whatever. And they realized that baseball players did certain symbols. So I looked over at Anna, who's between first and second base, not knowing where she is, and I see her doing this. I said, Anna, what are you doing? It's my baseball sign. Go back to the previous base. Go back to the previous base. In other words, you're going to be out, right? So I'm like, we're not going to be able to survive the next 5 to 6 years. First time I saw Aiden, the first time I realized what Aiden was going to be was nothing like the young man, the composed, slightly unhinged young man you see. Aiden was also about as big as the rest of them. We had a Halloween lock-in. We were trying to get him to come out. You guys might remember this. All of you bought into the fact that we decorated the church, the hallways, and we run through looking for clues and as teams, and it's all dark, and you have little torches in your hand. The only one that didn't get this concept was Aiden. Aiden decided he was going to get in his knapsack, or whatever his whatever. And at the foot of the stage downstairs, he curled up into a ball at about 10:30 and didn't wake up the whole rest of the night. Now, you have to imagine, I've got kids yelling, running, screaming, yelling, I found it. They're literally stepping over this guy, all the way up the steps to run through and jumping back over him, and Aiden was completely out of it, completely out of it. I have to say that Aiden became one of our more enthusiastic game players, to the fact that I remember a camp where we played a game, and I'll describe it as best as I can. You laid head to head with your feet going out in different directions. You and your partner were head to head, but his head was facing one way, and you were facing the other way. Can you get this? You met at the head. We blindfolded them. Was it ice cream? It was pudding. And the goal was to reach over and put it in the mouth, blindfolded, of your partner. Can you imagine laying on the floor doing it? Once again, Aiden decided, I'm not even going to bother to try. And I have video of this, like I do of all these kids over the years. I could destroy them. I could absolutely destroy them wherever they want to go in life. President? No. I will bring them down, okay? Aiden just decided to take everything and just decided to, and I think it was poor Chase Roberts, just completely dumped it all over his face, all over. They don't think he had got one in his mouth, that poor guy. And Aiden lost the game, and he did not care. Aiden did not care that he lost that game. So, the thing that I want to close is by saying this. With all the fun that we had, and COVID really kind of gutted a lot of what we used to do here, and I feel very badly about that. We always had so many guys in the group that were jocks that I could go and find them on a football field on a Saturday. We'd go out and we'd play hockey. We would do things aside. That was kind of my thing. That was my thing, to go out there and kind of bond with the guys. This group was very different for us, and we're very, very fortunate that Becky and I are able to transition and meet them where they were. Because we have easily the most talented group of kids overall that we've ever had here in terms of musical and vocal abilities. And we were very, very blessed to be able to focus on that with this group and get them and meet them where they were. We say that Jesus meets you where you are. Well, we wanted to always be that for whoever we have in the group. And we take pride in the fact that wherever you come from, whether you're the cheerleader or the jock or the math nerd or whatever, when you're in our youth group, we are all the same, you all get the same. I put you through all the same basic torment, correct? I'm an equal opportunity woman. But I will tell you that we are going to experience a tremendous loss because what they do and the emotional abilities that they have touch base with you in a way that other kids haven't had. The loss is not just physical. The loss is going to be emotional beyond what we could really normally sustain because we've gotten close to them in a way that we haven't been close with other kids in some ways. So I want to thank you all once again. We'll keep soldiering on. If you know young people that would be willing to join, we're excited that we have Marissa and Evelyn Hill here. And we're very hopeful that that's the next group is going to be yours, ladies. The next group is going to be revolving around you. And Evelyn's already, they're both very talented in their own right, and we're going to have our hands full with them as well. So pray for grace and for us to continue and good health going forward. We'll do the best we can. And thank you so much to this church, who's always been so generous with everything they've given us and blessed us over the years. So thank you folks for coming out today.
Now, everybody return to your affirmation of faith and stand. And join me in saying. With all Christians everywhere,
We believe in one God, who made everything. The Father sent His Son Jesus to die on the cross. Jesus rose again as the Lord of all, that we might live forever with Him. God sent His Holy Spirit to live in us, that we might grow more like Jesus. Amen.
The offering plates at the end of the service, if you have offering, we're not pass the plates anymore, so their offering plates are here. And so we are going to do something a little bit different. The girls actually chose all the hymns today. And when I said, how do you want your youth service to be? They're like, we want to sing. So we're going to sing for the last part. So we're not having a praise and intercession. So if everybody could get your praise booklets, I'm going to explain a couple things. Keep standing. The next song that we're going to be singing
You need to turn on TV as well. Turn yourself off.
is Thy Word. This is a oldie but goodie. Okay, so on the, just to let you know, your grace booklet, do not pay attention to anything on this side. Look at
in Potter's hands. The girls absolutely love this, so we actually did sing this last year, and so we're going to be singing it again. So the girls are going to be leading through the first grade, so if you're not familiar with it, that you can get yourself together. And then we're going to sing the chorus, we're going to go back to sing the middle part, and then we'll sing one more chorus. So just deal. Stay with us. Stay with us, yeah.
Beautiful Lord, wonderful Savior, I know for sure. All of my days are held in your hands, crafted into your
This song from Professor Garber years back, a long way with our youth group. And so today we're going to end with this. And you know what? If you feel led, you want to hold your friend next to you, want to hold their hand, please do so. And the kids are going to, again, lead this, and you'll join us in the chorus.
Hacking up the dreams God planted in the fertile soil of you. Can't believe the hopes He's granted. The chapter in your life is through, but we'll keep you close as always. It won't even seem you fall, 'cause our hearts in big and small ways will keep the love that keeps us strong. And friends are friends forever if the Lord's Lord up there. And a friend will not say never, 'cause the welcome will not end. Though it's hard to let you go, in the Father's hands we know that a lifetime's not too long to live as friends. With the faith and love God's given, springing from the Lord we know, we will pray the joy within is the strength that God shows. But we'll keep you close as always. It won't even seem you're gone, 'cause our hearts in big and small ways will keep love that keeps us strong. And friends are friends forever if the Lord's the Lord of them. And a friend will not say never, 'cause the welcome will not end. Though it's hard to let you go, in the Father's hands we know that a lifetime's not too long to live as friends. And friends are friends forever if the Lord's the Lord of them. And a friend will not say never, 'cause the welcome will not end. Though it's hard to let you go, in the Father's hands we know that a lifetime's not too long to live as friends.
Our worship has ended.